All right, we have 4:15 by Verizon. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, Sam Martin.
Here.
Bob Freeman. And Rick Morgan's here. Just real briefly prior to our first public input, obviously we and you and hopefully everybody watching will continue to lift up in prayer and thoughts those people out in Las Vegas and all that they're going through out there. Las Vegas is one of those towns where people from all over the world travel to. Certainly Ossipee residents travel there. It's supposed to be the place to go play. And last night wasn't playful. It's a crazy world, and I don't know what it's going to take to change it, but it's a crazy world. First public input. Anybody? Sir.
Mr. Chairman, my name is Craig Rollins. I'm a landowner, resident on Hudson and Shore Road.
Okay.
So my first question is about the public beach that the town is proposing.
Okay.
What will be the main access?
The main access would be utilizing, one of the things that makes it such a desirable site is it would be using Gretchen Road. So you could travel from Route 16B directly to the beach. Being a resident off Hodgson Shore Road, I'm sure your neighbors and everybody down there is concerned about the traffic impact on what is a very narrow, winding road. We understand that. We recognize that, and there are a couple of things that we have thought about to be able to control that. One of the things is, most people would prefer to travel down Gretchen Road because it is such a straight shot, one. There has also been discussion that if that started to become an issue, that we could keep the parking on the non-lake side of Hodgson Shore Road, use the gate, and then people would simply walk across the street to enjoy the beach. So that if we did that, then the only access to parking would be to make them use Gretchen Road. So we are aware of it. It is a concern because of that. It's just a narrow, windy road, and we know that. So we have talked at length, and I believe that we have a plan in place that will minimize the traffic impact on that road.
Very good, thank you. When I go down Gretchen Road, I see it flanked on both sides by wetlands. Would not the wetlands constrict any development to Gretchen Road, though?
We will have to, we'll have to cross some of those bridges when we get to them. Gretchen Road right now, of course, is not as wide as most public roads. It is wide enough to pass two vehicles. Would I like to see it a little wider if this comes to pass? Absolutely, I would. Whether or not that can be done will depend, quite frankly, on DES and all of the other issues that come along. We are told, at least initially, that many of the DES restrictions that the general public faces every day can be waived from municipal use, such as widening the road. I'm not prepared to say that that's for sure, but that's what we've been told at this point. The road, I think, is okay now. I would like to see it better if it comes to pass.
Very good. Where was I going with that? The parking plan, you alluded to parking maybe on the other side of the gate. Would that not mean that you have to, more campers would be moved out than the typical, I'm not sure of the number who live on the lakeside shore, I believe 15?
I think that's a fairly, I estimate 15, yes.
So you would anticipate maybe having to move more to accommodate that parking?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
What we've got right now is, listen, we've got a bunch of ideas, none of which, not one of the three of us have ever claimed to corner the market on all ideas. What we have done to date, and all we have done to date, is to secure an opportunity for the townspeople to vote and decide if they want a beach. We have and are working on some conceptual drawings that people can, because I'm a visual person as well, I want to see some plans. We're working on some of them. One of the things that we've discussed that I believe I certainly will support, and I think it'll be unanimous, if this comes to pass, I'd like to see a committee, not the selectmen, a committee of a half a dozen interested townspeople who could then come back with some recommendations on how to best utilize that land. Again, I have my thoughts, but I'm only one person, and I have never claimed anything else. When it comes to town meeting, I get one vote, just like you get. So we want input. We want feedback. We want feedback from the neighborhood, because it will affect you, and we know that. We're trying to balance, listen, we're trying to balance some bent feelings, which we have got, with a desire of a whole lot of townspeople to be able to go down and put their feet in that lake. That's all we're trying to balance. We're not trying to hurt anybody. We're not trying to upset anybody's peaceful, tranquil enjoyment of the lake. We're trying to expand that enjoyment so that the people who aren't fortunate enough to have a place on the lake get to enjoy it too.
Thank you for that. One more question, and I have not read the purchase and sale agreement. I understand it is a public document. I have not read it. But I have heard rumblings, and I've seen in media that there are possibly contractual restrictions to what you can do to Gretchen Road in that purchase and sale agreement. Is that a fact?
It is not. There are only three restrictions in the purchase and sales agreement, and I will outline them again. One, that any campers who are allowed to stay, we will not increase their rent for 3 years. Two, that Gretchen Road will always be known as Gretchen Road. It was named for Bill and Diane's daughter, Betty and Tunny's granddaughter, Gretchen. And that three, that we will refrain from cutting down any of the white birches unless absolutely necessary. Those are the only restrictions that are on that purchase and sales agreement. Well, anything else is just what you said, chatter. Those are the only three things that are in there.
Thank you for making that clear. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you. Anybody else under the public input? I'm going to take a little liberty, only because while we're on the subject of the beach, and we're going to continue to talk about this. Obviously, it's a very big deal. I'm going to expand just a whisker on the whole idea about why the town, or why many of us want a beach. I was born in Wolfboro. I've lived in Ossipee since I was 8 years old. When I was growing up here, if our kids wanted to, including me, wanted to participate in a fishing derby, we had to go to Wolfboro or Tuftonboro. If we wanted to see fireworks on the 4th of July, we had to go to Wolfboro or Tamworth. And those items go on and on and on. I've been involved most of my adult life with trying to make this town a better place to live and raise our families. And I don't say that asking for not 1 ounce of accolade. Because to be honest with you, my motivation many times was very selfish. I was a member of the Firemen's Association. In fact, I was president of it when we ran the first fishing derby. I worked with Chip Joseph, who's now retired from Fish and Game, to set that up. Not out of some great calling of civil responsibility, but because I wanted my own children to be able to enjoy a fishing derby in their own town. Years later, I was a founding member of the Old Homely Committee. And for the first time, we began to have an actual 4th of July celebration and fireworks in our own town on the 4th of July. Again, I'm glad everybody enjoyed it, but my motives were quite selfish. I wanted my family to be able to stay in their own town and enjoy a fireworks display. I personally, and this is me speaking, and I don't speak for the board on this, I personally think this beach is about so much more than just a beach for the ability to stick your feet in the water. It's about the identity of our town. It's about our children and our grandchildren being able to enjoy one of the most beautiful lakes in the state of New Hampshire on public property. It's about more than swimming. It's about guaranteeing access for the public to be able to get onto Ossipee Lake to go ice fishing. About the ability to access it with snow machines. There is no good reason why our children shouldn't be able to enjoy the same things in our town that children enjoy in their hometown. That has not historically been the case. For those watching, if you simply don't want a beach, vote no. If you think a beach would be nice, but we can't afford it, vote no. Don't listen to the rhetoric. Try to tune out the misinformation, because I'm telling you, much of what is being said is completely untrue. People talk about another tax increase. When was your last one? Because it wasn't under this board. We have lowered the town tax rate 4 years in a row, and we'll lower it again next year, I am confident. So you can decide we don't want a beach, but don't do it based on misinformation and inaccurate information that there's gonna somehow be a tax increase, because I'm telling you right now, it won't happen. I simply ask people to join me. You'll never see me laying on the sand on this beach if we get it, because I think that's about as exciting as watching paint dry. But do I want my children and my grandchildren to have the ability to get down there and enjoy that beach? You bet your bottom dollar I do. And I'll do everything I can to make it happen. But come town meeting, I've got one vote. This is a bond issue, which is going to require a 2/3 vote to pass, which means for every one no vote, there needs to be 2 yes votes. Come to the meetings. There will be public hearings. There'll be a budget hearing. There'll be discussion at town meeting itself. Come, learn the facts, and then cast your vote. And I'm going to move on. You want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I feel the same way.
Just that it's all about community.
It is. Anyway. All right. Sorry to take so long. All right, first order of business, we have the minutes of the Selectmen's meeting, which occurred on Monday, September 25th. I make a motion, we accept them as printed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And we have the minutes of the Selectmen's workshop, which occurred on,
I wasn't here. I can't second it. She's right.
did you second? that?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry. Thank
We
you.
have the minutes of the Selectmen's work session, which occurred on Monday, September 25th. I make a motion, we accept them as printed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You have the check voucher totals. Payroll with taxes for week ending 9/30 was $42,513.46. Accounts payable for week ending 9/23 was $183,373.39, for a total dispersed of $225,886.85. Additionally, we had accounts payable for the water department in the amount of $6,071.45. I make a motion, we sign them.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. These are just the voucher totals. When a bill comes in, it starts off with the department head. They review it, sign off on it that we received the goods or services, and actually code which line in their budget it's to come from. It then goes to finance, where it is entered, and then comes to us to be approved prior to being put in batch totals. So there are, I think, a total of 3 different levels where they're reviewed before they're paid. We have a letter from a tax collector requesting a refund check in the amount of $6,401. In this case, the customer was a taxpayer prepaid in or on December 27th for the whole year. They have since moved and would like the refund. I make a motion, we approve it.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have a letter from, I'm not gonna name any names in this. We have a letter from a resident in Leisure Drive, who's copied us with a series of concerns about noise complaints within the development. Do we have a department head meeting coming up with the chief?
I can schedule
So-
one.
Could you schedule that for next Monday? We can do it in the workshop prior to the meeting if it's more convenient. We have a Selectmen's deed. This is a piece of property that was taken for payment of taxes. Per law, the parties have a certain period of time in order to purchase their property back. In order to purchase the property back, they must pay all back taxes as well as a penalty. In this case, the taxpayer has, in fact, issued a check to the town of Ossipee in the amount of $49,460.14 to buy back their property, which is located on Duncan Lake Road. I make a motion, we sign the deed returning the property to the taxpayer.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have an engagement letter from Divide Millimet. We're an attorney's firm to act as bond counsel. This is in conjunction with the purchase of the Camp Secocas property. You've already had a chance to read this.
Yes.
Any questions?
No.
I make a motion, we sign it. Actually, that I sign it on behalf of the board.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 We have a copy of a letter from, worksheet from the Salvation Army, showing that they helped a couple of Ossipee residents in the amount of $360 and change. Ellen, I might suggest, would you do a quick note, Salvation Army? I don't know where it would necessarily go.
We're actually stewards of the Salvation Army funds for the area,
Oh,
so that's a quarterly report that I have to file with them.
oh, okay. Well, I guess we don't have to thank them yet, but, okay. We have a supplemental notice of intent to cut wood. This is on map 57, lot 2. It's a supplemental intent to cut. Its owner is David Mitchell, Pearly Riders, the logger. I make a motion we sign.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have a second supplemental. This is on a notice of intent to cut wood. This is on map 260, lot 17, map 265, lots 20, 21, and 22. Brenda Lynham is the owner. Western Maine Timberlands is a logger. As I said, it's a supplemental to an original that was approved. I make a motion we approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have a notice of intent to cut wood. This is on map 248, lot 21 and 22. It's a 9-acre cut. Robert Zimmerman is the owner. Greenleaf Products is the logger. The taxes have been paid. I make a motion we approve it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have a contract for use of facilities by the Mountain View Condo Association. There's an address in North Conway. Did you find out anything about?
All I could find out is that they are an association in North Conway, or their mailing address is in North Conway. I'm not familiar with it here in Ossipee. I know that they have used this facility for at least 2 or 3 years now, so. And I believe it's scheduled for this Wednesday. Wednesday or Thursday, Wednesday.
Why are we just getting it? I don't know. Is there a
Why
date
is
on
he
it?
okay in there? They're not
Is it
in
big
the
enough?
hospital.
They didn't fill it out till 9/25.
So that's too late, right?
Why is he okay in them if they're not from here?
The concern is it's somebody that wants to use the freight house here for a meeting, and they're from North Conway. And it's for a condo association that I'm not familiar with. My thoughts are to have Alan reach out to them, find out what the association is with Ossipee. And on its face, I'm gonna make a motion that we deny the use unless someone finds out otherwise.
Right. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have a note or a memo from Brad Harriman regarding the culvert pricing. We received 3 quotes for culvert pricing, one from E.J. Prescott, Water Industries, and JAF Industries. I won't read all the different prices, there are several, but JAF Industries is lower on all the different culvert material that we use. Lowest bidder. I make a recommendation that we allow Brad to use JAF Industries for the acquisition of culverts.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
We have the Highway Department work log, which is here in the folder if anybody'd like to look at it. We have the recycling center cash log for September. We collected $5,262.95. We have a copy of the letter from the planning board, which was sent to Northgate Ossipee LLC regarding a $4,500 outstanding bill for engineering in regards to their planned expansion at Westwood Shores.
And that has been collected. We actually received it back in March. I just found out before this meeting that it was sent to the attention of Kelly and she applied it to their tax account, so.
Okay,
We are working on that.
okay. Thank you.
It has, yeah, it was paid in March. You're welcome.
We have a copy of the letter here in the file from the planning board to Attorney Sega regarding the Morse Pit closure, which is something we've talked about here. And they're working with Attorney Sega to bring the owners of the Morse Pit into compliance. We have a copy of a check from Northeast Resource Recovery. It's on our recycling of fibers mixed, plastic, and scrap metal. And we received a check for $4,030.46. We have a copy of the consent calendar from the Executive Council, which is here in the folder if anybody would like to look at it. We have a payroll reimbursement request from the Water and Sewer Department, the amount of $3,374.08. I make a motion, we approve it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And we have a warrant for the water and sewer bill to instructing our tax collector to collect $87,398.37. I make a motion, we sign it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Moves the red folder. Old business, fall cleanup day, or free dump day, October 7th, coming up.
This coming Saturday, yep.
You got everything in place that you need?
Yep, yeah, we're all organized and ready to go. We just, need the people to come bring the stuff to us.
By the way, and that it's something that everybody ought to take advantage of, with all of the normal things that the town charges disposal fees on, will be received into the dump free of charge. There are some limitations on the number of tires, et cetera. But if a person has more than the allowable number, talk with the foreman or the public works director, and we will try to accommodate you as best we can. The idea being is to get the town cleaned up and to allow people to bring all of this stuff in without having to pay the fees. Please take advantage of it. Hazardous and dilapidated buildings. Anything new on Danville Road yet?
That has a court hearing scheduled for November 3rd, I believe it is. They have filed a expedited wetlands permit application to, I believe, start some raising of the structure to at least get the portion that has fallen into the lakeside taken
Okay.
care of. I believe the lake lowering is scheduled for this coming weekend. It always happens around Columbus Day, so
Okay,
I think they're trying to get that wrapped up before the court hearing takes place.
okay. Intersection of 28-171, anything, Brad?
No, still nothing new on that.
Okay,
But the sign is up.
The new sign, check your turn signal sign is up.
thank you.
It's large, it's visible.
Let's hope if it prevents one accident, it'll be worth every penny that we spent on it, so, good. Town Beach, it's under old business, but / new business. Court hearing is scheduled in Carroll County Superior Court for October 13th. And then we'll see what the court says. We have petitioned the court for permission to have a special town meeting, and it's determined by the court whether or not that happens. Water Department rules and regulations. They're done?
All except for, the table of contents. Yeah, they've done it.
And we're waiting on an addendum schedule. Well, I don't know, we can still accept that beforehand.
I'd rather get the regulations done and then we'll do the addendum afterwards, so if we can get those out to all of us so we have a chance to read them before next Monday's meeting.
We don't
and
have
then
a
we'll
meeting
get
next Monday.
All right, 2 meetings, 2 Mondays from now, you're right. Next Monday's Columbus Day, okay? What do you cover bridge, right?
Still nothing new on that to report. It's- Other than last week, that they got back on track with that, getting that, a butter to sign off on the wetlands portion of it, so.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, any other old business? Brett, anything?
No, we're just wrapping up some maintenance items in the town and unfortunately thinking about getting ready for winter, so.
It actually is under old business, but it should be old/new. I certainly want to convey our thanks to the highway department for the work on the fence at the Chicopee Cemetery. Looks very nice. I've had actually several people stop me and that was a really nice addition. The idea being, the reason we did it was not just for aesthetics, but to try to curb the people from driving across the lawn at the old church and killing all the grass. So hopefully it's going to accomplish both. But pass on our thanks to whoever the guys were down there that did it, because it looks really nice. Very happy.
I don't know if Paul has anything to say about the water line project and the meter project that's been started too and stuff, if he wants to update you on any of that.
Yeah, I got some of the 2-inch meters are in.
Good.
The water line, they may have it finished by the end of the week. I've already had people commenting how much better the water is even with the temporary line.
Yep.
Because I've been getting pieces of the old line that's really bad.
This
So-
is the one on Route 16?
No.
No,
Not there.
this is the Mountain Road one.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when are we doing the break under Route 16?
October
The
10th.
10th,
Okay.
they're doing they're gonna drill.
Is that gonna interrupt service at all in that
No,
area? Nothing?
not at all,
Okay.
no.
Good, good. Also on the old/new, old in the sense that we had voted on it quite some time ago, but the reason we're holding the meeting here is the gymnasium floor is being replaced at Town Hall. That old floor has lasted a really, really long time, and if the new one lasts half as well, we'll be well served. But it's in progress, and given what they were able to do today, I'm guessing next week it'll be done.
Yeah, it's gonna be 2 weeks anyway. It
Think
might
two?
go into a third, yeah.
I guess it depends on how many people they had, but the crew they had there today tore up a lot of.
They got about a third of it done, I would say, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Any other new business? Sure. Second public input. Anybody? Yes, ma'am.
My name
is Karen Foster. I live at 42 Stoneview Road, and I have a situation where I'd like some help from the board.
Okay.
A neighbor of mine at 46 Stoneview, she used to have sheep. She lost them in a fire, but she still has the sheep guarding dogs. Well, they're looking for other jobs now. On October 23rd, they charged me and my dog. The male Anatolian Shepherd charged me and my dog while we were out walking, and my dog was leashed. Last night, the male and the female came into my yard, onto my property, and tried to get through my fence at my dog. I had to get my dog in the house. I called the dispatch number, and I spoke to the dog officer. Now, twice the dog officer has been contacted by me about these dogs. I've never gotten any word back.
Okay.
And it's getting worse.
Okay.
I don't want to hurt the dogs, but I need to protect myself. I already walk with the walking stick. But after last night's show, I don't think that's going to be enough. Something needs to be done with these dogs.
Okay. Can you, we're gonna be meeting with the chief on another matter on,
2 weeks.
I don't wanna wait 2 weeks.
No, I know.
Well, let's do a scheduled workshop, midweek.
Wednesday.
How about Wednesday?
Okay, you already have them 1 o'clock.
We have
for
1 o'clock for,
Union negotiations, so
okay,
I can
we have a
do it
non-public
prior to that.
scheduled next Wednesday on the union negotiations, so let's,
It's
I don't care if
It's
it's.
this Wednesday.
Okay, this Wednesday,
This Wednesday, correct?
day after tomorrow.
I mean, she's
So
saying
let's,
that another neighbor is letting the dogs loose. The dogs are known to dig, they're known to jump. And she's got them in this 8-foot by 8-foot chain link enclosure. And there's nothing going down, so the dogs can dig out, and they can jump pretty high, because they're very tall leg dogs.
okay.
And I would like some help being protected in my own yard.
I don't fault you for that a bit. Well, what we will do is, let's meet with him then this Wednesday. There's still time enough to amend the agenda to make that happen.
Mhm.
We will be meeting with the chief of police on Wednesday. He supervises the dog officer, and we will pass on this information and try to get some resolution for him. Okay?
Because my dogs, have always been leashed, fenced, in the house, in the car. They've always been licensed. They're always up on, these dogs didn't have collars. They didn't have licenses attached. I don't know if they have ever had rabies because she doesn't have a vehicle to transport them. I mean, there's just a whole ramification of things that are really worrying me.
I understand, and I'm glad you put a bunch of stuff in writing so that we can make sure that we're looking into the right thing, okay?
Because that's the dogs that were on my property, the Anatolian Shepherd.
Oh, okay. Can you do us a favor? Can you provide, you don't have to do it right this moment, but provide it to Ellen before Wednesday? Just a break it out as to when these incidents have occurred to the best of your recollection, so that we can make sure that we're reviewing the proper information with the chief. If you can just give us
I
a.
have the 23rds already written up. I can do up the one from last night.
Super.
It's just,
And if you could just make sure and get that to Ellen prior to Wednesday,
can you get me your email?
I sure can.
and then we'll, that way we're making sure that we're addressing the right thing, okay? 'Cause we're coming in kind of at the end, all right?
Mhm.
Thank you. Anything else?
That's it.
Okay?
One problem at a time.
Any other, any other public input? Okay. Any need for a non-public?
There goes that.
Ed, any updates, anything?
No, only that I'm available for citizens to come to me and talk to me about anything.
Correct. We've been posting this right along, but Ed is one of our state representatives, and he is here, and I'll honestly tell you, he's very responsive. When you actually question, we actually get answers, which is incredible. So, by way of announcement, there's a budget committee meeting, which occurs right here in this room on Wednesday, October 4th. That's just them gearing up for the annual budget process. There's no special items on the agenda for that evening, but and they're open to the public. If anybody has a question about how their tax dollars are spent, it's a great way to find out. There is always, almost always, I believe there is now at least one vacancy on the budget committee. So if anybody has an inkling to get involved, please, come roll up your sleeves and be a part of the process. It's a pretty eye-opening experience for most people to get involved. Is there anything else?
Nope.
Ellen?
I do not.
If not, I make a motion we adjourn.
Second it?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.